Awesome. Good morning and welcome, Deon. It is such a privilege and an honor to have you join me on this platform and to come and share your wisdom. I was just telling the listeners now that you certified me as a coach and you are my ultimate mentor. And I'm excited that the mentor is here to share insights on career growth strategies. And I think mentorship and coaching is such an important aspect that a lot of career people and professionals need to incorporate in order for them to get that push and to propel themselves towards career growth. What are your insights, or what do you believe? Why do you believe mentorship and coaching are essential for career growth?
I think I would like to start off and maybe just differentiate firstly the difference between mentorship and coaching, because not everybody understands that the two are not the same. Mentorship is usually when you have someone that has got experience, that are capable in a certain direction, and they take someone in that is still entering the industry and they impart very specific skills that they have to the younger learner. So it's always creating mini-me's. It's almost creating a duplicate of self. It's guiding someone to become what you have become in a particular career. Where coaching looks at it differently. Coaching says, I'm not necessarily in your career, but I am the person that's going to have conversations with you, enter into strategies, and I'm going to help bring the best that is in you to the surface and help you become the best version of you in whichever career path you have decided, or if you want to make a change, how do we make that change? So the difference is basically mentorship wants to create I almost want to use the word a duplicate of me, where coaching says, how do I make you a unique being, but amazing in your own right? And I think that's the main difference between the two. Are both of them required? If you want to be a professional, if you want to reach a level of excellence, I do believe you need both. You need a mentor, someone that's walked the path already that you can look up to, that you can admire, that you can learn from. But you also need a coach that's your accountability partner that challenges you to a higher level of self, a better quality of self. And when those two disciplines come together, magic happens. Magic happens. And that's critical.
For shedding light, because it's true, a lot of people don't know the difference between mentorship and coaching, and it's important that you brought light into that. If you are listening and watching us, I hope you got some points there and understanding of the difference between mentorship and coaching. Mentorship is not coaching, and coaching is not a mentorship. Now, Deon, can you share a personal story where mentorship and or coaching made a significant difference in your own career journey?
I think we all have stories. I need to go back because I've got quite a few. My filing cabinet really needs to run through. But I'll start off on the career I'm in now. In 2007, I had a passion to enter the coaching industry. 2006, 2007. And I remember doing research and trying to find people that I could learn from. And I found some people in South Africa, and to be blatantly honest, I met them, I had many meetings with them, I did some courses with some of them, and I was very disappointed because I was given a huge amount of theory, but very little practical knowledge that I could apply. Because there's a huge difference, sometimes someone will say something to you, and it sounds fantastic, but can you apply it? Can you use it? There's the secret. So I met a lady from England, actually, and we started chatting online, and eventually I was blessed to get her to come to South Africa, and she came to stay with my wife and I for a couple of days. I would have wasted 5 to 7 years of honing my skill and becoming the level that I want to become. That's the benefit of coaching and mentoring. It accelerates you. It takes you on the journey faster. So I still believe in coaches. I still have coaches. I have a few coaches at any given time, usually about 3 different coaches for different areas of my life. And I know it catapults us. Everybody want to become great in what they do. But if you take, for example, if you take an athlete that wants to run 100 meters, you can try and do it on your own, but if you get a great coach, you can reach your top performance much faster. And that's probably the reason it's so popular around the world and so successful, because it catapults us to a phenomenal high level much faster than what we can do. And that's happened to me. And because of the gift it brought, I fell in love with coaching. I experienced it in my own life. And it's been over 15 years. I can't stop sharing and teaching it. It's just such a powerful tool. It makes it so much better, so much faster. So, yeah. The person that mentored me was a lady by the name of Dr. Terry Adwell. She has passed on in the meantime. I miss her. If I could have another conversation with her, I would certainly grab it and embrace it. But yeah, mentors and coaches in our lives, absolutely.
And to think that you still miss her, and if you could have a conversation with her again, you would. And this is a coach and a mentor that you met along your journey of life, just to show the importance and the impact and significance of what coaches can do in our lives. Now, I know a lot of professionals are skeptical, Deon. They're like, hey, someone to tell me what to do. Or some are actually, thinking, but where do I even start? How can I get the right person? Who can I trust? What are the qualities should someone look for in a mentor or coach?
I think the first thing we need to realize is, a lot of people ask an exactly very accurate question. What can a coach do for me? How can someone that's a coach help me in my career if they're not in the same career? So I want to just maybe give the listeners a concept to understand. We are interesting creatures. Human beings don't think in linear ways. We think in duality. In other words, if you have a challenge in your life, you actually do have the solution. If I look, I'll give a practical example that I love giving, and I think in the training that you were in, Tida, I probably gave it as well. If you look at a glass window and there's a crack on the window, how does your brain know that the crack is real? Well, your brain needs something to compare it to, so the brain knows what a window looks like without a crack. So because of the comparison, I know what it looks like without a crack, I can identify a crack. Well, the same rule applies in your career. Because you know you are frustrated, you know what it is you're looking for. But the problem is there's a difference in where this information resides in the brain, in the conscious or in the deeper subconscious. So great coaches and mentors becomes a catalyst to bring what's in your deep brain to the surface for your own understanding. So I don't need to really understand your journey. What I need to be able to do is have a conversation with you that allows you to look at your own journey from a different perspective, to realize your own potentials, so that we can build a strategy together to improve your own journey. Because if you find frustration in your journey, the solution is also inside of you. You cannot see the crack without knowing what the window looks like when it's whole. You cannot see that you're frustrated in your career without knowing what the alternative is. So our job is merely bringing that alternative that's already in your mind, bring it to the surface, make it manifest, make it clear, make it understandable, make it achievable, and then help you build a strategy and a structure to get there. So I can coach someone in a profession that I have no understanding of, because I'm not coaching as a mentor or as an expert. I'm coaching on what the person I'm coaching already knows. I'm taking their knowledge, bringing that to the surface, bringing that to the light.
Wow. I like that. It's quite powerful that you say this, because it doesn't mean I should be in your field of expertise, because a lot of us, I think, get confused there, because they think, but a coach is, I'm an engineer and this coach is not an engineer. What are they going to teach me and what are they going to tell me? So what you're saying is very, very important, Deon. And I think if you're watching and if you're listening to us, that you're also getting some of these insights and you're taking some notes if you have to. What are some of the common misconceptions about, we've already mentioned one now, about mentorship and coaching, Deon?
So I think the one concept that a lot of people miss out on is they believe that a coach will do the work for them, that a coach is someone they go to for advice. Coaches don't give advice. If you take the basic concept of it, it is life coaching. Now, I cannot give you life advice, Tina. I've never walked your shoes. I don't know your life. Your scenario is unique to you. We are all unique individuals. So the misconception is that a coach must tell me what to do. And I think that's where the massive differentiation comes in. Coaches don't tell you what to do. Coaches enter into a conversation to discover what you really want, what your capabilities are, what your skills really are, and how to utilize what you are capable of to take you to achieve what you dream of. Now, the challenge we have in this world is a lot of us have dreams, we have aspirations, but we look at the 5 years, 10 years down the line, and we see the final end result of what it is we're dreaming of. And when we look at it from where we are at the moment, what we see 5 or 10 years down the line is scary. It's huge. It's an audacious achievement. And the reality is it scares us because to a certain degree, it feels, because it's so overwhelming, it feels like I cannot do that. Look at little me. How can I become that? And because of that fear, we hold back and we don't take the necessary action steps in the present. And a year goes by and we're still dreaming, we're still frustrated. Another year goes by, we're still dreaming and we're still frustrated. Coaches are those people that takes that long dream, breaks it down into understandable steps, into smaller achievable steps, so that the journey looks logic, looks realistic, looks tangible, and the brain goes, I can do this. If I focus on this small step now and then on that one and then on that one, I can eventually get to where I want to be. So it has to be broken down. It's the old concept. You know, if we fail to plan, we're planning to fail. And coaches are trained experts. That's what we do. We get you to build that strategy plan from where you are to where your dream can be realized in as short as possible a time frame. So that's the essence of what we do, and that's where people don't always grasp it. I'm going to help you get that plan. I'm going to help you break those steps down, but I'm not going to do the work for you. Yes, we can enter into an accountability agreement. We can put timeframes in place. Yes, we can have a report back and a feedback mechanism. Yes, if you hit any stumbling blocks or limiting beliefs, we can coach you through them. Yes, we can do a huge amount of things, but we don't do the work. So some people expect the coach to do the work. Well, I've watched sports teams practice, and I've noticed the coach stands on the side of the field. He's not on the field doing all the work. You've got to do the work. The coach will help you do the right things at the right time to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And that's what we do.
Summed it so beautifully, Deon. The coach will not do the work for you, and that's a big misconception. I like what you say also about a coach coming into making this dream or this goal logical, tangible, and realistic. They break it down into small steps, you say. That is amazing and powerful. Thank you for shedding light on that, Deon. Now, another thing is coaching at different stages. You find a graduate that's just entering the workplace now, or a graduate that even hasn't entered any, workplace. They haven't even started a job, but they are a career person because now they have this certification they are holding. Then there's that one who's just entered into the workspace for the very first time. Then there's that one who's about 3, 4, 5 years in the job. And then there's that one who's at managerial level and at CEO level. Can you take us through the difference in coaching at different stages, the differences in coaching at different stages, and the importance of coaching at different stages?
I think, Tina, you know me, I'm kind of not always conventional. I don't always answer exactly what people ask, and I do that for a very strong reason. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball in here from your question. There's a concept that most people don't understand when they enter into a career or when they want to make a change in a career. If you look worldwide at people that are employed, you will find that people that are in the wrong career have the highest levels of depression, anxiety, and fear, and negative emotions. So before I coach anybody to go on a journey of any career, make a change in a career, enhance their career, doesn't really matter what it is, I usually ask them, do you work from Monday to Friday? And the answer is yes. I ask them a very basic question. When you see someone say, hey, it's Friday, do you get excited? And what happens on Monday morning when you wake up and you need to start the new work at your job? What is your emotional state like? What is your level of excitement or depression like? Golden rule in a career. If you live a life where you cannot wait for Friday and you absolutely despise waking up on a Monday morning and having to go to work, golden rule of a career, you're in the wrong career. You are missing the point. You are not going to get to a level where you excel unless we have passion for what we do, unless what we do fills us with a level of excitement, entices us out of bed on a Monday morning to want to go and do whatever it is what we do, then we are not in a career. Then we are, can I make a controversial statement? Can I say something that's going to shock?
Yes.
If you live a life where Friday is your best day because you can get out of your job and Monday is your most terrible day because you don't want to go to work, you're not employed, you're enslaved. If you think slavery has been abolished, you're missing the point. It's been reinvented, and a huge amount of slave masters calls it work. If you are doing something where you're not earning what you are worth, where you haven't got freedom of self-expression, where we have to wear this mask that is unemotional and unauthentic the entire day, where you hate every moment of it, and where you eventually end up going home and all you want to do is just sleep so you can get ready for the next shift that you've got to go on. You're not employed. You're not following a career. You voluntarily entered a new concept of slavery. What are we doing? The first process any person in any career needs to understand, if you want to excel, you require passion. There's something in you that needs to want to do it, that enjoys doing it. When we do things that we want to do and enjoy, we put in more energy, we put in more effort, we put in more hours, and it doesn't feel like work. Because we put in the more energy and the effort and the hours, we excel at it. We become better than our competitors. That's a career. That's a journey. Now I'm not working. Now I'm living my passion and I'm earning through it. Total different perspective. So I coach people not to be better in a career. I coach people to be better versions of themselves and excel at life. What you do to generate income is one of the elements of your life. It shouldn't be the overwhelming element of your life.
Deon, sure.
A little bit of a thinking for some people on this platform.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what we need, particularly on this talk show, Career Talk. It is Career Talk, and we do need to shed light on some of these because people need to learn and people need to know. We're going to take a short break, Deon, and we'll be back to unpack more with you. I want people to just assimilate what you've just shared with us just now. I'm also just going to assimilate it as we take a short break. Please stay tuned.
Actionable solutions to employment. Indaba is a Zulu word that means gathering or meeting. Why does Africa need a multi-platform employment network? Let's address high unemployment rates, skills mismatches, and limited access to job opportunities. Firstly, we provide actionable solutions to Africa's unemployment crisis. Transform Africa's employment landscape. Drive Africa's economic growth and global competitiveness. And lastly, empower individuals, industries, and economies across the continent. Career Indaba is committed to supporting and driving 6 of 17 Sustainable Global Goals, SDGs, by 2030. Goal number 1, no poverty. Goal number 2, zero hunger. Goal number 4, quality education. Goal number 5, gender equality. Goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. And lastly, goal number 17, partnerships for the goals. Partner with us today. Informative, empowering, and inclusive voice for Africa's workforce.
Amazing. We are still here on Career Talk with Coach Tina, and we are joined by a very special guest who also happens to be my coach, Deon Groenewald, the founder and CEO of Action Factory Global, a platform that certifies coaches and mentors across the globe. Deon, thank you for shedding light and for some of the important aspects you've already touched on, particularly when you spoke on the last point of enslavement. And we cannot talk career growth if we actually haven't taken a few steps back to define where we are. Are we really in a career first of all, or are we just in enslavement? And I think something to think about as we continue with the show. Now, you've guided many through career crossroads, so many people through these career crossroads. What's the most common fear or barrier that holds people back? And how do you help them move through it?
I think the most critical thing that holds people back is if we live in a society, and generally and especially in Africa, our culture has made us very humble, and we get brought up to be humble, and I think it's a good thing to be humble. But we have created what I would call a false form of humility. I'll give you an example, and I've seen this so many times in the work environment where, you know, you'll have a team leader, and I've seen some team leaders that the team will be given a task, and the team leader is not getting the support from their team as they should. So the team leader would go and spend extreme hours. They would work till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. They would do all the work the team is supposed to be doing, and then finally present the results to whoever the head of the department is. And very often, the manager or the leader would then say to the team leader, "Well done, good job." And the team leader will turn around and say, "It wasn't me, it was my team." Because we've been trained not to take personal recognition. We divert it to other people. A practical life example, you know, I've got a wife and 3 daughters. I've been blessed. I've been married now for over 40 years. And I've watched them when they go out and they want to go to social events. They spend 3 hours getting themselves ready with the outfit and the hair and the makeup. It's a massive process, 3 hours of preparation. And then you go out with them and one of their friends would say, "You look fantastic tonight, Bill." And I've seen it where my wife would then turn around and say, well, I just threw this together quickly. It's we don't take compliments. We don't absorb when information comes towards us about what it is that we are doing great. So what we've done is we've programmed ourselves to be mediocre. We've programmed ourselves not to stand out, not to take compliments, not to show our fullness of our capability, but to blur away in the background of everybody else. And that's actually extremely sad, because unless the full authenticity, and I want to say, unless the full gloriousness of you as an individual can come to the surface, how is it possible that anybody will give you an opportunity or promote you into your position of gloriousness? As long as we play the mediocre, the let me be on the same height as everybody else, let me not be seen, let me not stand out, let me not voice my voice of authenticity, let me not show my real true talents, let me not manifest my true passion. I'm just gray, then I'm just like everybody else. And I think we've come to a place in the world where we've got enough fake, we've got enough people wearing masks, trying to duplicate and be like everybody else. We really desperately need uniqueness. We need the diversity of magnificence, of creativity, different approaches, different thoughts. And we now know neurodiversity and all of these elements is such a great benefit for the workforce. But unless every individual takes up the courage and steps up and become the fullness of them, what are we doing? I understand to manage an organization, you do want similarity. You do want to make it easy to manage people that respond, react in similar styles. But that also robs us of our humanity and our uniqueness. And I, for one, cannot live a life where I submit myself purely to the guidelines of someone else, so I'm easily managed. That concept just doesn't make sense to me. And I think inside of the work environment, we need to start, and I want to use the term, and I know it's probably a political term, we need to start liberating ourselves from the constraints of mediocrity so that we give ourselves permission to be the greatness of what we can become. And if that starts to happen, I think organizations, companies, employers will start noticing those talents and gifts and start positioning people in the position where their natural abilities are the best to be utilized. Instead of trying, it's an old concept, when we go to school, we come home with a report card and our parents look at our report card and they see, the marks that we've scored high on, and they see the ones that we've scored low on. And they send us for extra training for the ones we've scored low on. And I always ask the question, what are we doing? We're taking people that are not naturally good at something, that are not really passionate about a certain topic, and you're just trying to make them average on it. Instead of taking what they score high on, sending them extra classes for that, it makes them genius, magnificent in something else, in what they're really, truly good at. We've come into this, let's bring the top guys down to this level, and let's try and get the bad ones up into the same level, and just have this massive amount of mediocre people around us. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be creating magnificence. We're missing the point in the career industry. I think we've allowed too long of mediocrity and trying to be like someone else to become the ruling mechanism of how we think. And I do believe we need to wake up. We need to wake up to self and allow our individuality to shine and let us show our true talents. If we all do that, the larger puzzle of life, if I can use that term, will come together. And because it is like building a puzzle. If I cannot fit into your space, Tina, and you cannot fit into mine. So why are we trying to make everybody small little squares so we can build a big square puzzle? Let's be unique. Let's be the puzzle that fits into our own unique space. Because then the puzzle will look beautiful. That's a lot of info, I know, but you know me. I cannot. You ask me a simple question, I can't give a normal answer.
it, Dion. I mean, it's like I'm back into my coaching days again. Like those classes were just the most powerful classes of my life. And really, what you're sharing right now is what Africa needs. It is us liberating the individual, because when we liberate the individual, then like you said, the change will start to come. But if the individual's mind is also not awakened to this truth, then we won't see the change. And that false humility you spoke about, it's like these structures that have been created to dim our light, as you rightfully said. And thank you, Dion, for really being bold and pushing this narrative, because the work you're doing is truly phenomenal and it's needed, particularly in this season. Deon, I want to ask, what was the most challenging conversation you've had as a coach or as a mentor, and what did you learn from it?
The most challenging. Wow. I think I've had, just to give you an indication, I've literally, I think I've over 12,000 hours in this industry. I don't know even how many people I've coached. I know I've trained and certified thousands, probably coached over 10,000 people. So have I had quite a few conversations? I do think so. I think the tough ones are obviously the ones that make you cry, and especially afterwards, where you've had a conversation. The tough ones are when you coach someone and you see potential in them, but they just don't see the potential themselves. That's the conversations that really gets to me. And it's simply because of the way, once again, we can blame society. I don't want to blame society. I'm part of society, so I also take accountability for it. But we are structured in some kind of a strange way to only create mediocre people, and we don't truly identify at a young age natural ability anymore. I don't believe, and I'm challenging our schooling system and our teachers out there. How do we identify unique ability? How do we really identify talent? And then once identified, how do we enhance it? The toughest conversations I have is when you talk to someone that is really good at something. And when I say really good, I mean really, really good. And they don't believe they're good at it because it's been suppressed. I'll give you an example, a simple example. I remember one person I had a conversation with that was really good at art. I watched her draw with a pencil, and I was blessed to grow up in an artistic home. And I've got a trained eye for art, and I could see this person is really, really good at art. And when I spoke to her about it, the response was, but everybody can draw. Very often we have very natural abilities that we find extremely easy to do. And we don't realize, because no one tells us, it's a special ability. Those are the saddest conversations. When someone has a special ability, when they are magnificent at something. And it can be something simple, something like drawing, something like, well, let me just sort things out. Let me do your filing. I've met people that are brilliant at sorting out my desk. I'm horrible at it. Now, I've had people come into my office and ask me, can I sort your desk quickly? Because it's disgusting. It's a mess. And in 5 minutes, they do something with my desk that I cannot do in 3 hours. So I ask a question. You're brilliant at sorting my desk. Why don't you do it for a living? No, that's silly. Everybody can do it. No, not everybody can do it the way you do it. What is it that you are very, very naturally gifted at? What is it that comes easily? What is it that when you do it, people respond and react positively? What is it? That's your natural ability. Follow that. Build a career around that. What frustrates me is if you see people with these beautiful abilities and they're in a career that suppresses them, that is the complete opposite. That's why I want to take them and really just shake them by the shoulders and say, come on, you got one life, live it properly. You know, we can't chase a job because we think we need one, because we need the salary, because we need to ensure that we're not going to end up in poverty. That's the wrong reason for getting a job. Because now you're only going to work hard enough, perform well enough not to get fired. You're never going to get out of poverty. You're never going to excel. It's when we follow passion and enthusiasm that we commit, that we start excelling in something. And that's how we pull ourselves out of poverty. Not by getting a job. That's one of the biggest lies we've been told. We know how many families do we know where people have jobs and the entire family is in poverty. It's because no one in the family is following passion and exquisite talents they have. Follow your talents, your gifts, your natural abilities, and notice what happens.
You just blow my mind all the time. Thank you so much for shedding light right there as well. Your natural abilities are your special abilities. And he says that one of the most challenging conversations he's heard as a coach is when the individual doesn't even see what the gold that lies within them, that gold that lies within them. I cannot believe we've had you for 40 minutes already, Deon. And I'm going to be wrapping up the show with by asking you, I think, two last questions. The first one being, how do you create a safe space for vulnerability and honesty in a mentoring or coaching relationship? I believe that some of the listeners would want to hear that, particularly those that find themselves in this career journey. And before they get to find a coach and a mentor, they want to know, is this going to be a safe space? What does it look like? And we want you to please help us in answering that.
All right. So once again, you must appreciate I'm not going to give the answers most people expect. So the one concept where people don't understand about a safe space is, what is a safe space? A safe space is not a space where you're not going to be challenged. That's a misconception. A lot of people believe when they hear the term, it's a safe space, that the other person is not going to be put in a state of discomfort. Discomfort and safe are not the same things. Now, human beings, we don't grow, we don't develop, and we don't change when we are in a comfort zone. So a lot of people have developed a mindset or an attitude or a belief they hold on or a value system that keeps them in a comfort zone. But that also means that they are in a state of stagnation. When you enter a coaching session, part of our job is to get you out of stagnation, which means we need to get you out of your comfort zone. So what is a safe space? A safe space is that we follow ethical guides, that we don't share information. But a safe space, when you come for coaching, for example, if someone comes for coaching with me, a safe space doesn't mean I'm not going to make you cry. A safe space doesn't mean I'm not going to challenge your thoughts. It doesn't mean I'm going to ask you really, really tough questions. Because a safe space also requires me to give you what you've come for, and that is to get you out of your comfort zone into your growth zone. And guess what? That's an uncomfortable zone. We don't grow. We don't grow when we sit on the couch watching Netflix. We don't grow when we feel comfortable doing whatever it is we do. We grow only in our discomfort zones, when we put ourselves into a challenging position where we challenge ourselves, our abilities, our thoughts, our words, our behaviors, our reactions, our responses. That's where we grow. So a safe space is not a comfortable space.
Hey, Deon. A safe space is not a comfortable space because growth does not come in comfort. Growth comes when there is someone who's forging you forward. It comes with discomfort, and it's important that we are mindful of that. We have just had it from Deon Groenewald, the founder and CEO of Action Factory Global. He is a coach of coaches and a mentor of mentors, and he's done phenomenal work for over 15 years. And now, if you haven't followed him, do yourself a favor and follow him on all social media platforms or Action Factory Global. And Deon, in closing, again, thanking you for this beautiful time and the wisdom you've really shared with us this morning. We don't take it for granted, and it's such an honor for me to have hosted you right here this morning on Career Talk with Coach Tina on Career Indaba radio station. In closing, Deon, I want you to just tell the people what to expect when they step into what we call a career coaching journey. What to expect in a career coaching journey, and some of the outcomes you've seen after people have entered into this journey.
I think we need to, whenever you start with the career coaching process, one of the first things we need to do is really measure where are you? Where are you? Are you happy with that? What's brought you to this place? What are the positives that's brought you, and what's been the feedback? Now, I use the term feedback and not the word failures, because failure is a man-made concept. We don't believe in it. We believe in feedback. So we look at everybody's journey of what has brought you to this place. That's a critical part of career coaching, because it shows us what are your skills, capabilities, talents, gifts, qualifications, and everything else you already have. Now I know who you are and what you have. Then the next question to ask is, where do you want to be? Not, and this is a mistake a lot of career coaches make. They usually would take, all right, this is the path you've been on, so therefore your past predicts your future. Not at all. That's a misconception. The world has changed. If I coached you 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that statement would have been true. Our past does not predict our future in our careers anymore. The world is bigger than that, and the types of career and career developments have changed completely. So my question is, what's your past that has brought you up into this moment? But my second question is, where do you want to be? Truly, really. What is that position in your future that's going to make you wake up with enthusiasm on a Monday morning? What does that position look like? Then we need to ask a second question. Well, what is the gap between where you are and that spot? And what does that journey look like for you, utilizing everything you've brought with you? In other words, everything that you've taken from your past, what are the tools that we can use to get you into your future? And if there's shortage, all right, what lacks? And how do we get that? That's the simple concept behind it. That's the perfect career coaching process. The risky career coaching process is where career coaches looks at what's behind you and uses that to tell you what lies ahead of you. Not necessarily true. At the age, I was in my 40s? Where am I now? Yeah, I was in my 40s when twice in my life, I've done complete, total career changes. And I think that's something where people often, just really get misguided. They believe that because they are on this rail of this career path, this is it. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. There's no time like the present to change. If you're in the wrong career, change now. Change now. How much time have you got left? Well, the rest of your life. You might as well enjoy the rest of your life. Go for it. I had a very successful career before I entered this one, and I took huge amount of risk. I'll be honest. I had to burn bridges. I took a huge risk to enter a new career. Later in my life, I was in my 40s already, and everybody around me thought I was crazy. I mean, what are you doing? Well, the same people now think I was genius because I've grown and we built a brand that's known around the world, and rated as one of the top 10 in the world in our industry. But that didn't happen because I feared taking a step. It happened because I knew where I was going, what I wanted, and what the outcome was going to look like. So I had clarity about what was ahead of me. Did I use the skills and the tools from my past? Yes, a lot of them, but I had to acquire new skills and tools as well. And that's the essence of career coaching. It's not where you should be, it's where you want to be.
Oh, Deon, I could have you all day on this show and just listen to all these nuggets and insights and wisdom you have to share with us. But what better way than to close off by a poem that you also introduced me to? I opened with the same poem, and I think it is good to close off with the same, because what you've just said is summed up in this. And if you're watching and listening, please listen intently. Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Deon, thank you so much for who you are, for the work that you are doing, and for coming through to the show and just shedding light and honoring me with your presence. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time we've had with you. What a wholesome conversation. And until next time, because this is not the last, we're inviting you again. Stay blessed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tina. You're a blessing. Thank you for everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.